You all, I am Mrs. Vijayalakshmi Ramakrishnan, tutor for physics. Today, I am going to cover the chapter Thermal Properties of Matter and Thermodynamics. Before that, briefly, let me run through how to access the revision notes and the test in Clay6 website. First of all, go to clay6.com. This is our home page. Go to the practice section. You have different packages. Select the NEET Premium package. There you can see the revision notes. Click on that. Revision notes is basically the important formula and important tips and things which you should know to crack the NEET exams. So we have done for all the three subjects, physics, chemistry and biology for both 11th and 12th standard. For all the topics, and as we'll go through that, make thorough of all the formula and the tips, important tips which we have given, so that it is going to make things easier for you to remember while attempting the exams. So for that, even you can have we have ample physics tests, physics, chemistry and biology tests, needful tests also. I will quickly go through the important things and formula for today's chapter, and then we'll go on to the physics tests. Today we are going to see thermal properties of matter. First of all, let us know the conversion from Celsius to Fahrenheit. TC represents the temperature in Celsius. So TC minus 0 by 100 is equal to TF minus 32 by 180. So TF is now going to be the temperature in Fahrenheit. Ideal gas equation, PV is equal to mu RT. Thermal expansion, delta L is equal to L alpha delta T, where delta L is the linear expansion, L is the length, alpha is the coefficient of expansion, delta T is the temperature difference. So AT is equal to A0 into 1 plus beta T, where beta is the coefficient of expansion, delta V. So this is now going to be, when it is now going to be for area. So earlier it was for length, linear expansion. This is now when the area changes. So when the area, there is expansion in the area, it is AT is equal to A0 into 1 plus beta T, where AT is the final area and A is the initial area and beta is the coefficient of expansion. And delta V is equal to V gamma delta T, where delta V is the increase in volume, V is the original volume, and gamma is the cubical expansion. So that is now going to be delta T is the difference in temperature. Alpha is equal to, so the relation between the three, that is alpha, beta and gamma, is alpha is equal to beta by 2, which is equal to gamma by 3. For liquids, gamma real is equal to gamma apparent plus gamma gas, that is through glass or through the liquid. We can put it as through liquid. So thermal stress is equal to F by A, which is equal to Y. So whenever there is a stress, there is a thermal heat, there is a slight change in the heat also, temperature also. So here we write it as thermal stress F by A is equal to Y alpha delta theta, where Y is Young's modulus, alpha is the coefficient of expansion, linear expansion, and delta T is the change in temperature. Specific heat capacity S is equal to 1 by M Q by delta T. Specific heat capacity S is equal to 1 by M. M stands for mass, Q is the amount of calories or energy, and delta T is now going to be the change in temperature. Molar specific heat C is equal to 1 by mu Q times delta T. Again, mu is now going to be the specific heat capacity given. So Q is now going to be the energy and delta T is now going to be the change in temperature. Q is equal to MST, where M stands for mass, S is the specific heat capacity and T is the temperature. or H is equal to Q by T, which is equal to Ka times T1 minus T2 by L, where K is the thermal conductivity. Newton's law of cooling, d theta by dt or dt by dt. dt, capital T stands for temperature and small t stands for the time taken. So rate of change of temperature is equal to minus K times T minus Ts, where Ts is the temperature of the surroundings. Radiation per second, P is equal to E gaze sigma T1 to the power of 4 minus T2 to the power of 4, where sigma is the Stephen's constant. Absorption, and T1 is the initial temperature, T2 is the final temperature. So P is now going to be the radiation per second, E is the constant, and area is the area of cross section. Absorption power, A lambda is equal to amount of heat absorbed, heat energy absorbed by total heat incident. Wein's displacement law, lambda m times T is equal to a constant, or lambda m is inversely proportional to T, the temperature. Stephen's constant H is equal to sigma A T to the power of 4, where sigma is the Stephen's constant, A is the area of cross section, and T is the temperature. Thermal radiation energy emitted per second, H, is denoted by H. Thermal radiation is denoted by the letter H here. Okay? Solar constant S is equal to R by S. I'm sorry, R by R, capital R by small r, raised to the power 2 sigma T to the power of 4 into 60, where R and R are the radii. Capital R stands for the radius of the sun and small r stands for the radius of the earth. So basically you can see that this lesson has less weightage, but still one question can appear, or no questions also can be, you cannot expect any questions also. It can be that way also, but one question might come also. So you have to be prepared if that question appears. So you'll have to be careful for that percentage of weightage also. So basically you can expect more of theoretical questions in this, and graphical questions as well. More of graphical questions more than, so it is not going to be more of numericals where you can remember the formula and solve. Those type of problems are not very common here. It's now going to be more of graphical and theoretical questions. But anyways, for one or two questions which might come under, when it is where you need to apply the formula, these are the formula given, so you have to make yourself thorough with that. Now going to the thermodynamics. Thermodynamics, again, this is also going to be a for a topic of less weightage. But anyways, let us get prepared, because we cannot expect which questions might come and which might not come. We cannot assume like that. So to be prepared for the worst, let us be prepared for everything. So we'll have to be thorough of all the questions which is now going to be appearing in the exam. That is why we have actually compressed everything and given in the form of revision notes. So you can go through this and as well make yourself thorough. So mechanical equivalent. So coming to thermodynamics, mechanical equivalent of heat, W by H is equal to constant. Ratio of work done to heat produced is always a constant. J is equal to 4.2 joules per calorie, or 4.2 into 10 to the power of 3 joules per calories. This is a very important formula we'll have to know, because most of the problems will be using the specific heat of water. So this is what we'll have to be substituting in that place. So remember this formula. Internal energy, dV is equal to mu CV dt, or m by n into CV dt, where dV is the change in volume, CV is the specific heat capacity at constant volume, and dt is the small difference in time, and u is the constant proportionality. U is also given by m by n. M is the mass and n is the number of molecules. First law of thermodynamics, xq is equal to dV by dW. So when you come to thermodynamics, we have two laws. The first law of thermodynamics states that SQ is equal to dV plus dW. That is the change in the internal energy, dV, plus small, when the work done. dW is now going to be the work done. Now all the three quantities are expressed in same units, SQ, or you can even put it as just Q. Q is equal to dV plus, it's going to be, it should have been the dQ, not SQ, it is dQ. Note that, children. dQ is equal to dV plus dW. So all the three quantities are expressed in same quantities, that is delta Q or dQ, dV and dW. Heat gained, if the heat is now going to be gained by the system, it is always positive. Work done by the system is positive. Increase in the internal energy is positive. In the cyclic process, positive work done in the anti-clockwise direction, and in the clockwise direction it is positive, and in the anti-clockwise direction it is negative. Remember that, because you can expect problems related to this type. As I told you, more of graphical questions can be expected from these two chapters, so be prepared. Isobaric, if it is isobaric change, then there is going, the pressure is now going to be constant. So W is equal to integration of VI to VF. So since pressure is a constant, volume is now going to change. So VI stands for initial volume and VF for the final volume. PdV, or which is equal to P of VF minus VI. That VF stands for the final volume and VI stands for the initial volume. Isothermal changes, they are constant temperature. They are at constant temperature. The temperature is not allowed to change here. So W is equal to, here the work done, W is equal to 2.303 mu RT log of V2 by V1 base 10. Here we are now converting to the natural, the logarithms base 10 here. That doesn't. So V2 is the final temperature and V1, final volume, and V1 is going to be the initial volume. Slope of the curve PV is equal to minus P by V, where P stands for pressure and V is the volume. Here, adiabatic change, no exchange of. So we saw isobaric, constant pressure, isothermal, constant temperature, adiabatic change, no exchange of heat. Remember, there is no exchange of heat here. So W is equal to, that means heat is not allowed to the external environment. So sudden bursting of the tire are good examples for adiabatic change. So the cycle tire, when it is placed in the sun, after some time you can see that it is now going to burst, because it is now going to be an adiabatic change where heat is not allowed. So W is equal to integration of V1 to V2 PdV, where V1 is the initial volume and V2 is the final volume. 1 by gamma minus 1, where gamma is the ratio of the specific heats, P1 V1 minus P2 V2, or you can simply put it as mu R divided by gamma minus 1. Because we know PV is equal to RT, right? PV is equal to RT, where R is a constant. So you can, in the place of P1 V1, you can also put if it is. So you'll have to look into the formula which is given: pressure, volume. Then you can use the first formula. If temperature is given, then you can use the second formula, T1 minus T2. Slope of PV curve is equal to minus gamma P by V. So with this, we come to an end. Oh yeah, Carnot cycle. Carnot cycle, this is a very important thing. The efficiency of the cycle eta is equal to T1 minus T2 by T1, which is equal to Q1 minus Q2 by Q1, where T1 is the initial temperature, T2 is the final temperature, Q1 is the initial energy, Q2 is the final energy, or you can take it as 1 minus Q2 by Q1 is equal to 1 minus T2 by T1. Cancel of 1 and 1, you'll get it as Q2 by Q1 is equal to T2 by T1. Efficiency of Carnot engine is never 100%. For that matter, you can improve the efficiency, but you cannot attain 100% efficiency due to natural conditions which is prevailing. So we have quickly went through all the formula. Now let us go to the test. Physics. We have so many tests chapter wise. So the blue bubble says you have not taken the test. The red bubble is a random test. The green bubble says you have attempted the test already, but you can take it any number of times. Even if you have attempted the test, you can take it again and again until you are thorough of the concept. And the yellow bubble says it is a half completed test, incomplete test. So let us quickly go through the thermal properties. First test. Click on take test. I understand, go to the test. Now, in the following two isothermal changes shown at temperature T1 and T2, which of the following relations is correct? T1 is equal to T2 by 4, T1 is equal to T2, T2 is greater than T1, T1 is greater than T2. All right. Now you know PV is equal to nRT. For a given volume, you know, P is going to be greater for higher values of temperature. So whenever the temperature increases, you know, the pressure is also now going to be more. So obviously you can say that T2 is greater than T1. T2 is greater than T1. So option C is correct. Save that. Go to the next. In the following, see, as I told you, you can expect more of graphical questions. So be prepared. For that, you need to, whenever you need to attempt the graphical questions, you'll have to be thorough with the concepts. So go through the revision notes where we have made each and every point to be, every important point that we have noted that and given in the notes. Go through that and then take the test. You can definitely solve this. See, one is now going to be in the clockwise direction and the other is in the, two is in the anti-clockwise direction. So in a cyclic process, you know, clockwise direction represents the positive and negative, the anti-clockwise is now going to represent the negative side, right? So it is clear that now you can see this is now going to be of a smaller circle and that is now going to be a bigger circle. That means it is now work done in the 2 is now going to be the second circle is negative, and obviously that is going to be more now. So it is now the net work done is going to be negative because this is of smaller, I mean, you know, the area under the curve is now going to be the work done. So you can see that obviously the first one, even though it is positive and the second one is negative, but negative is of greater value. So the net work done is negative. So click that, go to the next. Again, a graphical question. Here you can see that at this point V1, P2, and P1, T1, V1, and the second one that is now going to be at the second point, it is now going to be P2, V2, and P2. All right. So you can see that the temperature first increases. So that's why there is a sharp rise. You can see at this. So at constant volume, you can see the pressure is increasing. When the pressure increases, the temperature increases. So there is an increase in temperature. You can see that. And then after that, you can see that it is slowly decreases. As the volume increases, pressure decreases. So as a result of which you can see the temperature is also decreases. So you can say that temperature first increases and then decreases. So 3. See, they are quite easy. Only thing is you'll have to analyze the graph. You'll have to know all the theory part so that you can apply this here, and then otherwise it's going to be pretty easy. This lesson is very, very easy. So now coming to the fourth question, which is theoretical. The internal energy of a system remains constant when it undergoes actually this question is incomplete. Let me skip this question because I guess something is incomplete here. Actually, it should have been yeah, let me skip this question. This question is incomplete. I'm sorry, children. All right, now going to the fifth one. In a thermodynamic process, 400 joules of heat is given to a gas at 100 joules of work is also done on set. Calculate the change in internal gas or internal energy of the gas. Yeah, this is an interesting question. We have to solve this. Now, you all know dq is equal to du plus dw. Now, given dq is equal to plus 400 joules. Remember, children, you'll always have to note the symbol because heat is absorbed here, and dw is equal to minus 100 joules because heat is given out. So du is equal to dq minus dw. So work done by the system is positive, which is equal to 400 minus 100, which is equal to 500 plus 500 joules. Let's see which answer is correct. Yeah, the option is correct. Save that. Go to the next. In a thermodynamic process, 400 joules of heat is given to a gas and 100 joules of work is also done on set. Calculate the internal energy of the gas. All right. Oh, this is the sixth question, children. I have to save this. Yeah. Go to the next. Sixth question. Oh, it has been a repetition of the, yeah, sixth question is a repetition of that. All right. Let me go to the seventh one now. During an adiabatic change or during an adiabatic process, the pressure of gas is found to be proportional to the cube of its absolute temperature. The value of gamma for the gas is what? This is easy, children. Now they have given you they have said that it is an adiabatic process. Okay, let us solve this. So for an adiabatic process, P is proportional to T cubed, or let us now introduce a constant of proportionality, K T cubed. So for an adiabatic process, you know, T to the power of gamma divided by T gamma minus T to the power of gamma minus 1 is equal to C. Or in the place of T r to the power of gamma, let me put it as KT cubed, which is nothing but, because T is proportional to T cubed, we are going to put it that way. So I can put it as T to the power of gamma divided by KT to the power of K cubed to the power of gamma minus 1 is equal to 3. Or let me take this K there to the other side. So T to the power of gamma by T to the power of 3 gamma minus 3 is equal to K to the power of gamma minus 1 times C. Now let us put this as K to the power of gamma minus 1. Let me put as some constant value A. So I would get this as T to the power of, let me bring it to the numerator. So I will get it as 3 T to the power of 3 minus 2 gamma, right? 3 minus 2 gamma is equal to A. I'm putting the whole thing as A. I'm sorry. I'm introducing C K to the power of gamma minus 1 is equal to A, or T to the power of 3 minus 2 gamma is equal to A. Now equating that, you don't have, now we can equate the powers. Here there's a constant, which means 3 minus 2 to the power of 3 minus 2 gamma is equal to 0, or therefore 3 is equal to 2 gamma, or therefore gamma is equal to 3 by 2. Let's see which option is correct. 3 by 2. B is correct. Save that. Go to the next. Work done by gas and cyclic process A, B, C, D, A. It is now given by this graph. So the positions are given. You can as well look into this carefully. Now you can see that which option is correct. Let's see. Now let me mark this as let us take this as the center point where it is. Now let us take this triangle, the upper triangle as ABOA. This, okay, let me draw the graph so that you can understand here. Like say, let us like this, right? Yeah. Now let us mark this as O, A, B, and this as C. Now you can see that in the look into the problem, you can see that it is now going to be in the clockwise direction, right? A, B, O, A is in the clockwise direction. So obviously we saw in the clockwise, the work done is going to be positive. And in the negative, second one, that is OCDO, the lower triangle, it is now going to be negative. That, or in other words, it is anti-clockwise. It is the anti-clockwise direction, so it is not going to be negative. But the areas are equal. Both the areas are equal. So the net work should be 0. All right. So mark 0. Go to the next question. At what temperature is reading on Kelvin scale be double that on the Celsius scale? And at what temperature is reading on Kelvin scale be double that of the Celsius scale? This is pretty easy, children. You know, K minus 273 is equal to Celsius. Or you can put it as K is equal to C plus 273. Now he says it should be double. That should be equal to 2C, he says. All right. So now you know C is equal to 2C, or which is now going to be 2C plus 273, where it can be 573. 2 times 273 is now going to be obviously into 2 will give you 546. So 546 Kelvin is the correct answer. Okay? 546 C is the correct option. Save that, go to the next. A thermometer which has upper fixed points and lower fixed points equal to 95 degrees and 5 degrees respectively reads 59 degrees. What is the temperature on the centigrade scale? A thermometer which has the upper fixed points and lower fixed points equal to 95 degrees and 5 degrees respectively reads 59 degrees. What is the temperature on the centigrade scale? All right. Let's solve this. Temperature minus lower fixed point divided by upper fixed point minus lower fixed point. This is the formula you'll have to remember. This is always a constant. Now it's given temperature is minus for 59. Lower fixed point is 5. Upper fixed point, he says it's 95 minus 5. So that is equal to C minus 0 divided by 100 minus 0. This is what is now going to be in the temperature. That is in the thermometer in the centigrade scale. Okay. So that is now going to be 54 divided by 90 times 100 is equal to C, or when you calculate, this gives you 60 degrees. So C is equal to 60 degrees Celsius. Let's see which option is correct. C is correct. Save that. Go to the next. Again, a graphical question. Volume versus temperature graph of 2 moles of helium gas is shown here. The ratio of heat absorbed and the work done by the gas in the process 1 to 2 is what? You'll have to analyze this question properly. It's given volume versus temperature graph of 2 moles of helium gas. All right. So what should be the answer? Let's quickly solve this. Now you know V is proportional to T, or we can put it as V by T is equal to a constant. Delta Q is equal to N Cp delta T, which is equal to N gamma R by gamma minus 1 into delta T. Now you know delta W is equal to P delta V, P times delta V, where P is the pressure and V is the change in volume. And that is equal to NR delta T. For the change in temperature, is now going to be delta T. Or therefore divide one by the other. This is 1 and this is 2. Now divide one by the other. That would give you delta Q by delta W is equal to gamma by gamma minus 1, which is equal to gamma is given as, for helium it is 3 by 2 divided by 3 by 2 minus 1, which is equal to 3. So let's see which option is correct. Option C is correct. Save that, go to the next. An ideal gas is taken through the cycle A to B, B to C, and C to A. The figure is missing. I'll draw it for you. If the net heat supplied to the gas in the cycle is 5 joules, the work done by the gas in the process of C to A is how much? Let me draw the graph for you. First of all, it is P along the x-axis and B along the y-axis. So it is basically like this. So this point is A, this point is B, and this point is C. So it is an isochoric process because the pressure is constant. You can see that. So it is now going to be an isochoric process. A to B, B to C, and then C to. So he's asking you what to be the work done. Now you know this is a cyclic process. So cyclic process W delta W is equal to 0. So actually what is he asking now? What is the work done during the process C to A? All right. So he is asking you. So this is now going to be a closed cycle process. So that means delta W is 0. Now delta Q is equal to delta W. Now delta W is equal to W of A to B, work done from A to B, plus work done from B to C, plus work done from C to A. Now you know work done from A to B, B to C is 0 because volume is a constant there. So work done from B to C is now going to be 0 because volume is a constant. Now work done for A to B is now going to be is equal to P times V2 minus V1 because there it is changing. So it is now going to be V2 minus V1. See, this is V1 and this is V2. So there you can see it is changing. So P into V2 minus V1, but pressure is a constant here. All right. So now substitute, that would give you 10 times 2 minus 1, which is equal to 10 joules. So now you know we have to calculate WCA. So that is now going to be, now that is given as 5, the work done, it is now given as 5, already we have calculated that, 5 is equal to 10 plus WCA, or WCA is equal to 5 minus 10, which is equal to 5 joules. Let's see which minus 5 joules, that is the correct option. Because see, the net heat supplied is now going to be 5 joules. That is why I substituted 5. Save that, go to the next. A sample of an ideal gas is taken through the process ABCA as shown. Here also the diagram is missing. I'll draw it for you. It rejects 50 joules of heat during the part AB, does not absorb or reflect heat during BC, and accepts 70 joules of heat during CU. 40 joules of work is done on the gas during the part BC. The internal energies of B and C will be what? Given the UA is equal to 1500 joules. All right. Let me draw the diagram for you first of all. So according to the problem, the diagram goes this way. Here, B is taken in the x-axis and P in the y-axis. So I'm sorry, children. Let me clear it and draw it again. Oh, again, it gets aligned. Let me not touch it. I think when it touches, it gets aligned like that. So this is A to C. Let me not touch it. It's understood it is a closed work. Okay. So this is A, this is B, and this is C. Right. So C to A, and then B to C. Now, you know, this is volume. We took this as volume and this is pressure. A to B, it is an isochoric process because it's now going to be at, it's a constant pressure. So in that case, we'll have to take this as P. Okay. Yeah. Because it is an isochoric process and I brought the diagram the other way. So this should be P and this should be B. So this is an isochoric process from A to B. All right. Yeah. So it's a closed cycle. So WB is equal, delta W is equal to 0. Delta U is equal to delta Q. Now delta U is given as minus 50 joules. So now this implies what was delta U that's given as 50 joules. So now 1500 minus VB is equal to 50. That has now been rejected, he says. So that is now going to be 50. Or VB is equal to 1450 joules. Let us now keep this. Now along BC, delta Q is 0. All right. Delta Q is 0. So delta W will be equal to minus of delta U, or delta U here is 40 joules. It's given as 40 joules here. So VC minus VA is now going to be VC minus VA is equal to 40 joules. All right. So VC will be equal to VB plus 70, you know that. So therefore VC is equal to, just a second children, VC is equal to VB plus 40. I'm sorry, not 70. I made a mistake here. It's a 40. So already we know VB is nothing but 1450 joules plus 40. So that gives you 1490 joules. All right. So it should be 1450 joules and 1490. So for VB it is 1450 and VC it is 1490 joules. Let's see which option is correct. Yeah, option C is correct. Let's click that and go to the next. An ideal gas initially at a state P1 V1 is allowed to expand isothermally to a state P2 V2. When the gas is compressed adiabatically to its initial volume V1, let the final pressure be P3 and the work done by the gas be W. Then let us quickly draw the graph. So let this be P and let this be V. Now he says, so first is now going to be an isothermal change, and this is now going to be an adiabatic change. Now let me take this point as A. So this is now going to be B, and this is C. So this is now going to be from here to here. Right? So actually, I should put it in dotted lines. You can. It is not a closed cycle, so it is not. Actually, I should have. Yeah, let me put it in dotted lines so that you might not confuse yourself. Yeah, that's AB. So now you can see that AB, AC is an isothermal chain. Sorry, BC is an isothermal chain, and AC is an adiabatic change. Right? So adiabatic expansion from. So I can mark this point as P1, V1, and this is now going to be P2, V2, and this is now going to be P3, V1, because volume is now going to be the same at that place. Obviously, V is now going to be somewhere here. Don't confuse V1 and V. So V2 is now going to be here. Okay, so somewhere here. So this is V1 and V2. Sorry, this is V1 and this is V2. Yeah. All right. So the adiabatic change from V2 to V1. All right, V2 to V1. Temperature will be larger than the temperature. Temperature is now going to be larger in the that state A. Okay, temperature is now going to be greater in state A. Now you are going to compress the gas adiabatically, so it will attain the state C. When you compress, it is now going to attain the state C. All right. The pressure of the gas has higher value at C. So you can see that is why it is now going to be the pressure is more at C. So you can say that at A, at B, because I'll come from the first children. I made a mistake. Just a second. BC is adiabatic and AC is isothermal. Remember, because adiabatic is slightly shallower, right? And AC is, so AC is isothermal, BC is adiabatic. Yeah, I made a mistake. Don't confuse yourself. Always a shallow curve is now going to be adiabatic. Even if you want to remember that way, you can remember this way. Like a shallow curve is now going to be adiabatic and a deeper curve is isothermal. So now BC is now going to be the adiabatic change. So adiabatic expansion from V2 to V1. So the temperature will be larger than the temperature at state B. Okay, at state B, it is now going to be more. So the pressure of the gas is now going to be a slightly higher value at C. So I can put, so P2 will be greater than P1 along the curve BC. Remember, for the adiabatic expansion, P2 is now going to be greater than P1. So what is now going to be the total work done? Total work done is nothing but W is equal to work done by the isothermal process plus work done by the adiabatic process. So work done is now going to be specified as the area under the curve. So isothermal is positive and the W adiabatic. Work done during the isothermal change is positive and work done during the adiabatic change is negative. But adiabatic has a greater magnitude. Remember, work done during the adiabatic change has a greater magnitude. So W is lesser than 0. Okay, W is lesser than 0. Let's see which option is correct. So it should be, or I should have written it as P3. We are now changing, we are now considering this, right? So it should have been P3 is greater than P1. P3 is greater than P1. So we are, remember here we are comparing adiabatic with that of the isothermal. So we are now considering the isothermal change here. What is now going to be the work done due to the isothermal. So work done is due to the isothermal change is now going to be definitely lesser than that of the adiabatic change. So in magnitude, so that is why W is lesser than 0, and work done by the See, this is going to be the adiabatic change. So we have to take it as P3, right? P3. So that is now going to be P3 is lesser than P1. Yeah, in other words, you can also put it this way. So P2 is lesser than P1, but they are now at the same pressure here, right? They are now going to be the same. So P3 is also definitely going to be at the point P1. Okay, so that's why we say P3. So P3 is greater than, right? So this is over. Just a second. The last question. Let us finish that off. Last question, 15th question. Which one of the graph below best illustrates the relationship between internal energy U and the temperature T of the gas in K? You can see all the graphs. So definitely not C. Now you know V is proportional to N times CV into T. So that means V is proportional to T, or in other words, you can say as V increases, T also increases. So option A should be the correct graph. Okay, option A. Mark that. So after finishing the test, go to the end test. So yes, confirm it. The results will be loading, and as well you can see the, since we went on to the other tests, we came back to the test again. It shows it's unanswered. All the answered questions will be marked green. Unanswered questions will be yellow box. And if the question is incorrect, it would have been a red box. So you can as well check the answers also. Suppose say, let me see the ninth question. Ninth question we solved, it was 546 Kelvin, right? So at what temperature is reading on Kelvin scale, we double that on the Celsius scale. So that gives you the correct answer. So that should be the explanation. Let us look at the explanation. You can see it is 546 Kelvin. So you can close that. Suppose 14th question, we had a slight trouble. Let us look into that quickly. An ideal gas at the state P1, V1 is allowed to expand. So isothermally to a state P2, V2, then the gas is compressed adiabatically to its initial volume. Let the final pressure be P3, and the work done by the gas will be what? So in that case, you can see P3, AB is isothermal change and BC is adiabatic compression. So we can simply even remember saying that adiabatic is more, the work done during the adiabatic compression is now going to be more. So you can as well say P3 is greater than P1, and work done during the adiabatic compression is more. That is why the net work done is now going to be, the magnitude wise, it is now going to be, we saw net work done is work done by the isothermal change by the plus the work done in the adiabatic change, but adiabatic work is now going to be more, but that has got a negative magnitude. So that negative sign, which means W is lesser than 0. So you can, so I gave all the explanation part. You can as well draw the graph, and remember isothermal expansion is work done during an isothermal process is less than the work done by the during an adiabatic process. So the net work is now going to be less than 0. So you can get the explanation part here, and then make yourself sure whether your answer is correct or wrong. If you're not satisfied with the results, you can as well go back, go to the revision notes again, make a note of everything, then take the test any number of times. You can take back the test any number of times until or otherwise you're going to be thorough with the concepts. So by this, you can make thorough with the concepts by attending the tests again and again. And finally, when you are thorough with everything for all the three, biology, physics, chemistry, and biology, take the NEET full tests, and finally you can be 100% sure of all your concepts, and you can go and attempt your NEET tests with full confidence. Thank you, children. Here, with this, I'm ending the class today. Tomorrow, we'll be going to oscillations and waves. Thank you, children.